Let's get the lighting going here.
Sure. It's not okay to like have that much pleasure, or be the nice person, do everything for everybody else, but don't kind of deny your own pleasure. There's just a lot of conditioning that we're kind of unwinding from as a society. So how do we learn to accentuate what turns us on and be able to use that as an ability to cultivate whatever we want in our life and to bring that to whatever we want in our life, whether it's writing a book or whether it's walking out in nature or whether it's walking or having a relationship with your dog or anything that's just inspiring you and motivating you to create. Is a big part of that is to be able to cultivate your sexual energy.
I'm actually watching it right now with Emily. I guess about 6 weeks ago, we got the bug of going to the gym. And we've belonged to the gym for a while, but she really kind of got into it. And now it's like every day almost, probably 6 out of 7 days a week you go to the gym. Yeah. And as a result, because I live with her, her energy level is so much higher. Everything, you just have so much more energy. So that's an example of life force.
Life force energy, moving energy, and we've been having better sex. So you know what I mean? It's just, it makes sense that when we cultivate that and we feel great, you know, we feel better and we want to share that kind of life force with the people that we love around us.
Yeah. So that's kind of just an introduction. A reminder that this is being recorded. So, you know, want to make sure that everybody feels comfortable with that. I don't think it's going to be broadcast dramatically out there, but we are recording it. So I'd love to just open it up, and I'm going to call on people one at a time just to ask you, what would more emotional intimacy look like in your life? And in the case of Irene and David, since we have a couple with us, maybe we could start with you guys doing an appreciation of how you do have emotional intimacy in your life. Because we always want to, when there's a couple, I always want them to lead with appreciation as opposed to, well, I want more because. So, Laura, you always are a wonderful person to start with. Is David going to join us today?
How do we unmute? Oh, yeah, he just, remember that uncle a few months ago who was like on hospice? Well, David just got the call right now that he's probably, you know, a day away.
Oh, wow.
So literally he just got the call. And so he's outside, but he said to tell you guys that he would be in as soon as he talks to his family.
Sure.
But you know, I am so thankful that you guys are having this subject tonight about emotional intimacy. So I'd love to open up a little bit well, you know, it's so interesting because I just, you know, I was raised by an amazing mom, but she just was not very attached to me. And, so I don't even know how to like check in with myself for the needs that I need, you know, like for the emotional. So I think that is like my biggest, growing point that I want to do is, and then to lovingly be able to say to my partner, you know, I'm just needing some emotional connection. So this is what it looks like right now. We're in the car and I'm have another cold and we're in the middle of moving and we have a lot going on. And I just said, I need you to tell me something sweet. And I do. So, you know, after 3 years of being together, he's pretty good at like just dropping in and he'll say something like, I love you or whatever. But it's just that I think that with David, I have such a deeper need sometimes just to have that deeper connection. Because as a child, my mom she was a great mom. She was always there and always around, but there was just no deep emotional connection. And once you have it, you know, I don't need it all the time, but it's so nice to be able to ask for it. And it's so nice to be able to notice when when that body feeling's coming up in me that really wants it, and how to not create drama because I want it and because I'm afraid of asking for it myself. So that's the part that I just am loving what you guys are saying about emotional intimacy, you know. I told them, hun, David's coming in right now. I told him about your uncle. So anyway, so that's, and it does look like that on a day-to-day basis, right? David, I just asked you, like, I need you to say something loving to me, right? He's nodding his head. I can't hear you guys for some reason. Can everybody else hear you?
Sorry, we're getting muted, but it's really vulnerable to be able to ask our partner for appreciation. There's programming, especially in kind of the new age community, that, if we're asking for appreciation, somehow we're wanting approval or validation, and then we make that wrong.
Exactly.
It's actually really vulnerable to be able to ask that and to be able to request it. And it's a beautiful request, to bring in more joy and more intimacy and gratitude into the coupleship. The only thing is, it's just to not, like you said, when you said, I don't need it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of, people, or, especially women, tend to rely on that validation or appreciation to feel good about themselves for self-esteem issues. And that's where you need to know, okay, where do I need to look at that? Where do I need to look at my own self-esteem or worthiness, or learn to self-source? So I just want to celebrate that request.
Yeah. We're going to be doing some stuff around appreciation later today, actually. We're going to be practicing a practice that's going to include appreciation in there. I want to welcome a couple of people that joined us, Deborah Haviland, and I think down there I see Julie Avena and
Greg
Strandro.
Can you be willing to put your
we see Greg's forehead.
there
he
Greg.
is.
He's eating, I think. Maybe
okay, right.
Okay, what?
It's all good.
Good to see you, Greg. All right, so maybe Julie?
Yeah, Julie, would you like to share a little bit about what more emotional intimacy in your life might look like?
Yeah, you.
Oh, there's more than one Julie.
Oh, right.
Julie. Oh, that's true. There's Julie Avena. So we have two Davids and we've got two Julies. So
I didn't expect to be called on.
And
no pressure.
No pressure.
Do you want us to come back, or?
No, I can invent something. Yeah, definitely. I think in my marriage, it's an obvious desire for me to feel more connected with him on a daily basis. Just basic communication sometimes is a challenge for my partner, because he does like to always make things extremely easy, doesn't want to bring up any negative feelings. Even just to tell me he's stressed at work is difficult. So I'm trying to find ways to create a safe environment for him to not only trust in me and, probably get some value in that, but also make it more comfortable for him to listen to my needs. I was struck by what Laura just brought up, the comment and, compliments to your partner, Laura. I didn't catch your name, for, just giving her a nice, on the spot appreciation. And I think that for me, asking in the past has been a challenge, and recognizing that now that I am asking, maybe either I'm not going about it the right way, or my partner's not comfortable with the idea of giving it, and really working on a way for me to help him feel good and trust communicating with me, as well as I'm getting back what I feel I need. So
thank you.
The ebb and the flow, I guess.
A couple of thoughts. Because I've worked with Julie and her partner Philip, I think that part of it is I'm imagining that sometimes when Julie asks for appreciation, because of the way Philip sometimes processes it, I think he hears it as a criticism, like he's not doing it enough or he's doing something wrong. And that's really more on him, it's not on Julie. But I would love to open it two things. One is I'd love for you maybe to share with Julie your evolution about appreciation. I've heard you share it before about in our relationship. And then I'd love to open it up to Irene and David. I'm giving you warnings, so you have time to digest your pizza. how you guys do with asking for appreciation and sharing appreciation, if you'd be willing.
So in my relationship with Scott, I really, when we first got together, I made him wrong for how much appreciation he would give. I used to think his appreciation was used as a manipulation for him to get his way or get his needs met. And so I really was like contracted and very judgmental of Scott around that. And it really was because it was a disowned part of myself. I grew up not receiving that, validation. I grew up where my father was, very much critical and taught through criticism. And that was his way of getting ahead in life, was strive. You got to go forward. It's not about accomplishing anything because you never get anywhere. You got to keep going. There's kind of this wounded, I would say, archetypal masculine energy of not enough. You got to keep striving and be better. And so that kind of was a wound inside of me. And so the reflection that Scott gave me, instead of making him wrong, it was just to re-embody the part of me that was appreciation deficient. So to heal that wound, I had to start learning to appreciate myself and appreciate that I am good enough and that my efforts matter. And then I was able to fill my well so that I could actually receive it more from the outside. And so I'm guessing there might be a level of that going on a little bit with Philip, maybe, and so certainly that's a journey for him if he wants to really re-embody that within coaching, learning how to do that with your, support. But often when we want something from somebody else, the best way to build the container is to give it to them first. So like building the well of appreciation of you really giving him that. And that also might ignite stuff for him. You never know. But that's a way to sometimes build somebody's container inside of themselves to get your best chance to get it back. So those are a couple thoughts off my head.
How's that land for you, Julie? Does that?
No, it makes a lot of sense. And I have seen progress. I think it's just tough when he views like vulnerability as being manipulative. So I don't know kind of even how, I don't want to be fake, but I feel like I'm now second guessing just being myself because I want, I'm working on it.
Since we're talking about emotional intimacy, I just want to acknowledge I've seen that. I've seen times when Julie, and I've seen this with other couples too, is authentically having an emotional response, especially when a woman cries. Sometimes men get really, really uncomfortable with a woman crying. And it triggers, and I don't know if this is the case for Philip, so now I'm talking in general about men. I'm not talking specifically about Julie and her husband. But often it'll trigger in a man this discomfort. Either if my woman's crying, I've done something wrong, or just the idea of crying is so uncomfortable that there's like this desire to end it as quickly as possible.
So I'm responsible to fix it because I want to be the hero too. That's also
that's in there. That's in there. Too. And also sometimes it's like this idea that, oh, you're crying to manipulate me into doing something, or to manipulate me into feeling guilty. And it's really tragic when that's what happens.
That might be something in his archetypal conditioning with mother-father that he experienced. Either they were doing that to each other, or he perceived it, or, the mom would somehow go into a breakdown and then she'd get her way and then she'd get, be happy. There's so many things to investigate. And, if you work with Philip, alone, those might be important avenues to go to explore.
Thank you, Julie, for being vulnerable and sharing that. And just by raise of hands, who can relate to just this topic in general, the challenge of, so most of us could. I'm going to turn it over to our couple, Irene and David, that particular couple. And just anything you'd like to share about your relationship and emotional intimacy or giving appreciation.
The ways that you maybe have that or have cultivated it in your relationship.
Can I go first?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. First of all, thank you for letting us finish our pizza. And so I really do feel Julie on that crying thing, because I grew up in a house with my dad who's really amazing, but he falls apart when girls cry. He has 3 daughters, so I'm sorry, but like so when we cry, he's like no, and he tries to stop the argument, and then we don't really get to a point of fixing the problem, because he's just like, fine, you can just have whatever you want because you're crying. And so I think that all of my relationships before David have also taken that pattern where when I cry, the problem doesn't get solved. But I'm really lucky because David is the most emotionally expressive person I've met, and everything I know about emotional intimacy, I'd say I learned from him. And he does this really great thing where he checks in once in a while, you know, like sometimes if I'm really quiet or I'm kind of sulky or just in my own world, he'll just kind of check in and be like, hey, like, do you need emotional support right now? Do you want some attention? And he and he does it in kind of a funny way. So I don't feel like he's messing with me or he's starting any problems with me. It's just him being caring and seeing if I need anything. And that makes it really easy for me to say, like, yeah, I feel I need a hug now, or, you know, this is bothering me. And so he just kind of opens the door for me to talk about those things. And then I don't turn into a crying mess, and we're able to, you know, move through our problems or whatever I need at that moment. So I'm really lucky. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's all twinkle David. Hey, beautiful. Anything you want to add, David?
Yeah, I think in the spirit of gratitude and appreciation, and on the eve of International Women's Day, you know, I'm so fortunate to have women warriors throughout my life, including my mom, who I was raised by mostly, who gave me a certain sense of sensitivity and appreciation for women, and then now to be with this woman warrior. And just, I mean, I'm with someone who teaches me about gratitude every day, because she's just so thankful about everything and just finds so much appreciation in everything, you know, whether it's this slice of pizza we just ate, or the fact that, like, I walked the dog, or whatever. And it's just always like, oh, thank you so much for doing that. And it's just such a good reminder and practice. And what Emily talked about giving what you want to receive. And, like, she just gives so much in terms of showing appreciation. And it's a good lesson and a good reminder for me, because I'm the kind of person who might be like, you know, like, not show it as much, or sometimes take things for granted. And so she reminds me about that every day. And so, you know, one of the things that I really appreciate is a practice that we actually started when we went to Hawaii for the Tantra Fest, and something that we did before we would hit the festival every day was meditate together, and then to say our blessings together for the day. And that was just such a beautiful start to the day. And that's something that we do now. And that's something that, even when I don't feel like doing it, and we still do, I'm still appreciative that we do it. Because even on the days that are tough, like, we've just dealt with, like, a recent bout with our dog where she was sick for 2 weeks, with a lot of stomach things, and it just kind of threw our whole life into a loop, as stupid as it sounds. But, and so, like, just like checking in through that every morning, and just, you know, like, we've gone through other things before that kind of, like, really caused a lot of, like, heated conflicts, and just, like, you know, like, but now I'm really grateful to be at a point where it's like, okay, you know, let's breathe, and let's, like, check in, and, like, let's see what we can do to support each other through this. And so I'm very lucky, guys. That's all I can say, to be to be with her. And yeah, and it's work, but I'm glad that we're doing it together.
Thank you both.
I love that, with the last line that you said, it's work, but we're doing it together. Because it takes work to cultivate what we want. You know, it's like, it doesn't just happen. That's a fantasy in relationship, you know, that somehow we get together and it's all good. We have a soulmate, you know, they should know what we need. I should know what they need. Like, it's like a romantic fantasy, but it takes work to grow a garden. You know, we have to pull weeds, we have to till the soil, we have to nourish the soil, we have to put nutrients into it. And I know that Laura and David and Irene, and now that I hear about from Irene and David, that you guys all do practices together. You know, you all have practices that you do together and separately to make yourself in a better way, you know, better way emotionally, spiritually, physically. And Scott and I, every morning we start with prayer. You know, we hold each other for at least 35 minutes, cuddle, like breathe together.
Take turns massaging each other.
You know, and I just want to say how important those practices are that like set our whole day up for success and help us to feel like that we're connected. And even though we go separately and do our own separate things, we feel like this bond,
Yeah.
you know?
I used to wake up in the morning and go straight to the computer. And now I don't. I stay in bed for anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes. So like today, I woke up really early, did some work, and then came back to bed around the time she was waking up. And that 30 to 60 minutes that we spend every morning holding each other, nurturing each other, and praying together, is like my favorite time of the day.
It sets everything up
It
for
sets
success.
everything up for success.
Yeah.
So it's thank you. for
Thank
that.
you. Yeah.
David Lincoln. And thank you again, Irene and David, between the Davids and the Julies. All right, David Lincoln. Hey, David.
You know, mixed emotions going on for me today, and but I'm so glad to be here. I really am. You know, I so identified with what Emily said about the appreciations and just the love that Laura brought to me, and my household as well was nothing but sarcasm. I mean, my mom was great, but I was the youngest of 4 siblings and a dad who wasn't around. And so there was just nothing but sarcasm, and everything was, you were waiting for the hammer to drop kind of a thing. So when I got in this relationship with Laura and she was showering me with love, I'm thinking, who is this? You know, this, what the hell? You know,
I thought I was faking it. I swear to God.
yeah. And so
What do you want?
when you were saying how you were giving Scott shit about his genuine appreciation behind that compliment, that love, that appreciation, I can so identify with that.
Yeah.
I can so identify with that. And so, as you said, as filling up the well, you know, it's been almost 3 years now, and almost a year of really being here for each other and connecting. That has been so amazing. Irene and David, thank you so much for your words. First of all, that pizza looked amazing. And so thanks. But you know, just the identification and the appreciation for one another and just getting that vulnerable. I felt that so deeply. Laura is just such a blessing to me on so many levels. She has taught me so much about loving myself and being able to let myself off the hook. That has been so difficult for me. And I've got a traumatic past. And, you know, as some of these other people say, you know, you want to freak out, you know, get a future or live in the past kind of a thing, you know, and so we're implementing these tools where you know, Laura has made sure that we meditate together every morning, and it's the most important part of our day. Scott and Emily has blessed us with the gift of really connecting and cuddling and just holding each other in the morning before
We're
we
doing
get out of
that
bed.
now.
We're doing that. And you know,
but for 3 years we've always been doing our gratitudes and appreciations every night before we go to sleep, no matter what. Even if we're mad at each other, then we like say joking things, you know.
Yeah. And I've always read to her.
Yeah.
We've gone through so many books.
He reads to me
Eckhart
every
Tolle,
night.
I read to her every night before
night.
we go to bed. I mean, it's just like a thing. And you know, when I get bratty and we're in the shit, I say, you know what? Fuck it, I'm not reading tonight. You read something to yourself.
And I go,
I know.
I'm like, you can't do that. Just one page.
Guilty. So I'm coming around. You know, it's like I used to be indecisive and now I'm just not sure. So I'm making progress.
Thank you, David. Thank you very
Love
much.
you so much.
Thank you. You know, I think we should get into the practice of celebrations in the mornings. How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good.
So we have a practice that we want to share with everybody. But just before we do, if anybody has something like a burning share, because we've only heard from a few of you, but if anybody has something they want to ask or share, just raise your hand and I'll unmute you. For Deborah.
I do.
Oh, great.
Great.
Who's that?
Is that-
Julie?
Yeah.
Yeah, Julie.
Hey, sorry, I don't know how to turn my video back on.
Okay.
I just wanted to share that it is such a pleasure to study this work with my partner, because what happens for us, and I'll give an example. So he's the typical guy, not to be so stereotypical, but he's a fixer, right? He's a caregiver and a fixer. So I'll be sharing something, say, oh, you know, I have back problems. And well, you know, he's like, my back's hurting today. Oh, well, what'd you do today? I was like, well, I did 5 minutes of yoga, went to physical therapist, you know, and ... And he'll jump right into fix it. And then I'll get triggered because I'm like, wait a minute, you're putting me down. You're like pointing all the things I haven't done when I really just wanted appreciation for the few things that I did do. And I guess in this work, it's learning, it's my responsibility at a certain level to ask for that. And now that we both have this conversation, these tools, it's amazing because I can pause. Most of the time, I can pause, catch my trigger and be like, babes, actually, you know, thank you for your recommendations. But right now I have a need for appreciation.
Nice.
And he gets it. He gets it now. Right? So because he's just automatic for him to try and fix, because that's how he shows his love. When I had a need for appreciation, not receiving the fix it, which made me feel wrong. So that was my burning share. Just that it's so amazing to do this work with a partner.
Yes.
Thank you, Julie.
And thank you for your ability to be like, oh wow, instead of going down the spiral of then making him wrong or trying to even fix him.
Oh, and we still do. It's just like you were saying, like it's practice, it's work. You know, we're doing this work together.
And a big part of what I'm hearing, Julie, and of course, as your coach, I've kind of watched the evolution. Learning to translate what our partner does, especially when our partner doesn't do what we want or doesn't respond the way we want, instead of going into make wrong or judgment, dropping into their world and remembering, it's when I heard you, Julie, say, that's how Lawrence shows his care. In other words, instead of just judging him for trying to fix you, you acknowledged that's Lawrence showing care for me. And it's really important for us to do that because so often our partner really does think they're doing
their best job
based on what they know, based on what they would like, or based on what they were trained.
Yeah, and I want to celebrate Julie did that so beautifully where she said, hey babe, thank you for your recommendations. And really right now what I'm just longing for is appreciation.
Yeah.
And since Lawrence has been studying with us, he's like, oh yeah, immediate, you know, it's just a rewiring. So it's really beautiful that no matter what your partner's doing, even if it's not doing it in an effective way, can you find appreciation or can you validate their values? And that's tricky if our empathy gas tank is really low. Like if we're really triggered, it's hard to do that because we're just kind of in the mind state of our needs. But just that one line, thank you, I really hear that you're trying to help, or I really, you know, that one line and then pivot into what you're wanting helps build that kind of connection.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you, Julie. That was a great share.
You're welcome.
I want to welcome, I see Nina has joined us. Welcome, Nina. So I think anybody else have a burning share or question before we go on to our first practice? No? Okay. So we're going to talk, just a reminder that emotional intimacy, the quickest way to get there is through feelings and needs. Now, most of you have studied with us and know that we want to differentiate between our thoughts, our feelings, and our needs. And, Emily can tell me a story for 30 minutes and it might get, pretty boring to me. But the moment she shares with me a feeling, I felt really sad. I felt really scared. Wow, that pulls me in because A, I care about her, and I can imagine those feelings inside of myself. Mm-hmm. And so when we're communicating in the language of feelings and needs, again, a reminder that underneath everything are our universal human needs, mm-hmm. universal human values, driving things. So in cultivating emotional intimacy, we want to be honest about what we're feeling and what we're needing. And we want to inquire and care about what the other person is feeling and needing.
It's actually a quick thing that I've met people where they hang out in story a lot, where it's like, it's even draining because they just consistently are stuck in story. It's a habit, most people just talk about what's wrong or what the thing is, just their story. And instead of being in judgment, like around, oh God, this person doesn't have tools, this person, all my self-righteousness stuff can come up. The quickest way is to be able to translate their story into their feelings and needs. And once their feelings and needs are validated, they usually get off their story.
And they feel understood.
Yeah.
Because when you say, oh, wow, I get it. When she didn't understand you, you felt really frustrated, and your value for being understood and seen clearly wasn't met. And of course you got angry, and people go, whoa, you really get it. But it's like listening. Now, honestly, sometimes I'll be listening to a client and it sounds kind of like, blah, 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 angry, blah, 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 respect, blah, 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 blah. So at least I hear the feelings and needs words,
But sometimes you don't. Like, straight people are just in their story going off about this and him and how I think about that and blah, blah, blah. And you have that's the ninja skill, is to be able to become a translator. And that's why we're good coaches, because that's what we've learned to do. We practice that.
Listening to for the feelings and needs, and then reflecting that back to people. So with that as kind of a quick reminder about that in foundation, what we're going to share with all of you, and we're going to do it together, I was going to have a chance to practice, is celebrations and mournings. Mourning, mournings. Today happens to be the anniversary of when I got married. And my wife, Suchi, who passed away 5 years ago, she and I first met in 1988, and we were really different. And there was always we actually ended up living in a house together within months of meeting each other, not as a couple, but as roommates. And we had a long friendship that eventually evolved into a lovership and eventually a marriage. But it took a long time because she was very German, and she would tend to really see what was wrong. And she could be pretty cynical, skeptical. And I was kind of a flower child, optimistic. And so we were very different in that way. And I would judge her for being negative. And she would judge me for being Pollyanna or too pie in the sky. Naive. Blind, rose-colored glasses.
Mm-hmm. Always looking for the good and then getting taken advantage of.
Right. Yeah, that. And that dynamic went on for years between us. And then when I started working with Marshall Rosenberg, I began to realize he was who first introduced me the idea of finding the balance, celebrating our needs or values that have been met, and with equal measure acknowledging or mourning our unmet needs. So I'm going to pull up a screen share. I'm actually going to pull up the needs first. And what we're going to do is we're going to take turns. Yes, I will. We're going to take turns acknowledging how to celebrate needs that have been met. And again, when we're looking at this list, we call this the universal list of needs, but you can also call them values, longings, desires. And we call it universal because we can relate to all of these words. Everybody has had a need or a value for just about every one of the words on this list. That's a really beautiful list. When we are focused on gratitude, we are celebrating or appreciating needs that have been met. And we're going to practice how to do that.
You start there.
But likewise, we do want to acknowledge that every day, no matter who you are, there are unmet needs. And we don't want to be blind to that. So what we're going to do in our practice today is really see what it's like to balance celebrating needs that have been met and also acknowledging or mourning needs that have not been met.
And again, they can be something today, something recently. It can be something with yourself, or it can be something that somebody else did that met your values. So it can be self-directed or in relationship.
So I want to invite all of you to look at this list, and we'll do a couple of group shares, and then we'll break people out into breakout groups. But pick, as you look at the list, think about in your life something significant in which one or more of these needs have been met that you want to celebrate, and something that you're uncomfortable or sad or disappointed about where one or more of these needs have not been met.
Mm. Mm.
Do you,
So
yeah, Laura.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
I just want to, so what I want to celebrate, you know, since I met David, it's been so amazing, is the companionship. It's been such a great thing just to have, you know, we joke and we call each other our service person. He's my service person.
Oh, nice.
And I'm his, you know, and, but it's nice when you know, that need for companionship, it's, you know, it's really filled. It's so nice, you know, and I grew up with a little sister, and we slept in the same bed for 15 years. And I feel so grateful that in living in such a chaotic household where my dad came home from Vietnam and all that, that I had her all the, you know, every night, you know, and so, and for the first time in my life, I have it with David. But one of my longings, because David and I have had so much emotional stuff that we couldn't really work on until we met each other, like that deeper layer that you can't work on until you have that service person, is, you know, it lends to a lot of instability in our life. And so right now, that's what we're working on deeply, is creating more stability, like through the rest of our outer world. And that's been hard. And, you know, I spend a lot of time ruminating and sleepless nights and stuff. And the good news is we're healthy enough now with you guys, we can ask for support, but it's still really scary and hard. And that's a longing, you know.
And if she doesn't sleep, I don't sleep.
So I'm hearing then that you're celebrating comfort and partnership and companionship that you share.
Yeah.
And you're mourning and acknowledging that you're longing for more stability, especially financial stability, stability in the outer world.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
So what's a significant feeling, and here's the practice, as they identify a celebratory feeling that comes along with how it feels that they've got this comfort and this companionship. They're going to identify at least one feeling. I'll pull up the feelings list. And I want all of us to feel that with them. That's how we do empathy. That's how we connect. We actually feel the feelings with another person. And again, these are universal feelings. So kind of looking at this list, Laura and David, what are between 1 and 3 of these words that you feel when your
need for companionship is being met?
Wow.
I feel calm. What do you feel? Go ahead.
I feel empowered.
Mm.
And I feel fulfilled.
Okay, so let's just go with that. Calm, empowered, and fulfilled. So as a practice, celebrating with them. Celebrating isn't just jumping up and down. Let's all remember what would it feel like if we're in a connection, our need for companionship is being met in such a way that we feel calm, empowered, and fulfilled. So let's just visualize that. Calm, empowered, and fulfilled.
I have to turn the apple off. It's going to burn.
I said, yeah, that's a good day.
Beautiful. And just to practice, let's go to the mornings now.
Yes,
Just 'cause
so
we
as a
were
practice, but I just want to make sure everybody kind of get a chance to kind of just get a sense of that, a feeling of that?
here, are able to connect in your body.
Who's
like-
able to feel it to some degree? Awesome.
Nice.
That's empathy.
Empathy.
That's the empathy that we teach, where we slow down and we feel with the other person. So now I'm going to do what my partner is suggesting. We're going to go back to the list of
It's right there.
uncomfortable feelings. And I'm going to ask again, David and Laura, what are 2 or 3 of these feelings that come up for you when you're really in the disappointment of the mourning of not being as financially stable as you want to be?
Or stable in general.
Impatient.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so interesting how our human emotions, like I was celebrating for a moment, but then the tears were already coming down because I feel like guilt that I feel upset about it because I feel so fulfilled with David. So I feel like a lot of grief.
Yeah.
I don't even know where guilt is there, but I feel scared.
Okay, so scared and impatient. I'm not going to work with
And grief.
I'm not going to work with guilt because guilt is actually not a feeling.
Okay.
It's a thought. It's a projection. It's a self-judgment usually.
Okay.
It feels like it's got some shit going on.
Well, the sensations and emotions that go with guilt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But let's go with, so the 3 are
Grief.
Scared, grief, and impatient.
right. So again, let's just all remember, what would it feel like to be scared, impatient, and grieving? I notice my chest contracting, tears welling, and paralysis, actually. You notice paralysis.
Paralysis. I end up just like shell shocked. I get numb and I just like freeze.
Yeah.
Withdrawn, I freeze, and I just lock up.
Anybody else want to share what comes up for them, either tuning into the uncomfortable feelings or going back to what happened in the comfortable feelings? Anybody have anything they want to share?
For me, the uncomfortable one, I feel a total sense of collapse in my body. It's like the bottom drops out and there's no energy left in me. Life energy just flows out is what it feels like. And I feel water in my eyes and my whole face just collapses.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you.
Thank you.
When I feel impatience, my first go-to is I gotta fix this shit.
Controller comes out. Captain
Like,
Controller.
Okay, we're off to the races. We're gonna make sure she's okay. We're gonna make sure this is in play. We're gonna, and then there's this feeling of frustration, agitation and frustration because I'm not where I want to be. And so then I feel helpless. And then it starts going down, like as I start feeling deeper, impatience, helpless, scared, like not worthy, like you just like keep going down.
Yeah. Gravity is 128 feet per second. So I tell you what, I feel at least like I dropped that fast.
I think Nina had something to share.
Nina, I am unmuting you.
I was just really relating to this because I just left a relationship that I was very physically, very financially stable. I am in my own life, but my partner was always getting fired from jobs, or when we worked together, I was the one that would get us the work, and then he would show up and do things to try to mess it up. And so I just, when you were asking about what it caused us to feel, I was reflecting upon, it would cause me to feel like scared in my heart chakra area, like anxiety, like a bird being trapped in a cage. And that just, that feeling is like, it's just feeling so not free to flow. And that's just such an awful feeling. So it's just really reflecting upon that, and just really feeling what you're both going through.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. That's beautiful empathy. Beautiful.
Beautiful empathy.
Anybody else want to share anything that has come up for you in this? So I want to acknowledge we're not jumping into fixing it. Oh, Deborah Haviland. Okay, Deborah.
I could actually share something. At first I was working on another project, so I just needed to listen. But and I was wondering how to approach what I was going through. But really, when you brought up the comfortable feelings when your needs are met, and the uncomfortable feelings when they're not, I'm really in the process of letting go of the final stages. I mean, I translated my relationship with Gary into friendship a couple of years ago, but I'm realizing I just need to let go of it totally. I mean, it's okay to have him as a friend, but for me to attract the man that I really want to, where it would be, say, with structure and grounded, present, emotional intelligence and everything. I've been dealing with somebody who really does have manic depressive bipolar, and so it's been crazy making. So I got to see really cleanly when you put those up how when that person is being manic, I'm just like, it's a feeling of dealing with a crazy person, like that I'm having to hold down the fort or pay for everything or clean it up, or it's embarrassing. It's scary. It's frustrating. I've felt frustrated. I've felt angry. I've felt all these feelings that I don't really want to feel. And I can remember, when my marriage was working before that, the feelings of when I felt completely satisfied, fulfilled, happy, relaxed. And I've just been in Costa Rica for a month and a half with my brother, who's a very enlightened, beautiful, amazing man. And in a way, he was almost husbanding me. So I felt like somebody had my back, and I just felt relaxed, happy. Everything's right in the world. There's abundance, there's beauty, the warmth, the water, that wonderful feeling. So thank you. It's so useful to look at those. I mean, I work with all the pages I've gotten from working with you, and I have a good friend where we've been doing empathy sessions, but this is very helpful. So thank you.
Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you so much, Deborah.
Did you notice how, at least for me, I'll just say, and I'm curious if this was for other people, the moment she started using the emotion words, I felt so much more connected. The moment she went into the feelings.
That was the first trigger, the embarrassed. I was like, that feeling of like, I don't want to be seen like this. Why am I in this? Like that feeling of kind of, it's like embarrassment like comes with like a level of disgust. I know that's like a really strong word, but it's like, I feel disgusting. I feel disgusted. I feel like, don't look at me. Don't, like, shame. But shame's not even a feeling, but disgust is. And I found that sometimes when I'm feeling shame or embarrassed, I'm actually feeling kind of disgusted with my situation, with the other person, or with myself.
Yeah.
And that's a strong.
Yeah, I felt that because it was such a discrepancy from, I know myself being, say, with my brother, who's been an enlightened monk for 40 years, I mean, where we're meditating, everything's
Sorry.
clear, there's certainty, there's predictability, there's harmony, there's responsibility, there's all this stuff. And then to be around somebody who's being unaccountable and in denial about their manic behavior, yeah, I have felt disgust, and to see them tear their place apart and make a mess. It's just, so I finally come to the things, I've tried to help long enough, and they need a certain kind of therapy, and I need to extricate myself so that I can just get on with everything that I need to do, like being the teacher and healer that I am. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you.
How many people can relate to either having a relationship like that, like where you were maybe there and you were the caretaker, or, you ended up in that kind of role as the mother or the person taking care of things. And yeah, I think a lot of us have been there,
I want to go back to Laura and David for a moment. So Laura, come back for a minute, because I want to ask you guys a question. Kind of just going back to our experience with you. Nobody offered to fix. Nobody offered solutions. We just shared in the empathy and just shared in the feelings. And I want to ask you, what was that like for the two of you to have other people, including people who don't even know you, feel with you? What was that like?
I thought it was very comforting, and it was very heartfelt. Laura is so good most times at empathizing, with me, and I'm the one, the whole crying thing, and like Emily said, it's like, let me just get this, let me get through this, let me get it over with. I just want to fix it, and then she's really good at telling me what she needs, and a lot of times I can give that to her, and then there's other times where I'm like, shit, again? It's like, come on. Can we just take Tuesday off? It's like, but when I have an opportunity to sit back and reflect, it's like, David, really? You've got this beautiful individual with you who just absolutely cares about you and just wants to be witnessed, wants empathy, and wants to just be heard. And it's like delayed intelligence. I have a master's in delayed intelligence. And it's like, flip, man, so I'm working on that, but this is so helpful. Thank you, everybody, for
and thank you. And the point that I'm just wanting to make is, I want us all to remember that when somebody is sharing a celebration or a mourning, it actually feels really good to feel it with them, as opposed to jumping into fixing it or try to make it better.
Yeah.
And most of us have been coming from a program of make it better. Well, actually, if we can just be present with what it is, and then share in the feeling, share with Deborah, share with Laura, share with David what they're feeling, and feel those emotions that they describe. That is the power of presence, and that is
intimacy,
which is what today's classes are all about. That's how we cultivate one of the ways, cultivating emotional intimacy.
But Deborah, you were so amazing with your gift of reflecting, and I really felt your empathy so deeply. Nina as well, and Lee too. I mean, you guys, it just felt so containing just to be witnessed just a little bit. With you guys are strangers, but I just feel so connected to you and it's kind of cool because in our last class, Scott and Emily, you taught us different kinds of empathy, and so what I noticed was that you guys kind of went into your stories a little bit, and that was so awesome because then it makes me feel like I'm not alone. You kind of went like, well, this is how it reflects with me, and I get it, and that felt so good. So thank you.
Yay. So I want to put forward to you, since it's a small group, we have a choice. We can stay all together as a group and have somebody else practice giving celebrations and mournings, and we can feel with that person. Or I can break us out into breakout groups. And probably what I would do is do breakout groups of 3s. Put each of our couples with one other person, and probably have Emily and I, work with a couple of people. And that way people will get more practice. So we can do it either way. Either stay together as a group, and we're not going to have as much individuated practice, or break up into 3 breakout groups where you could get more practice.
I'd rather stay together.
Okay. Okay.
So we're going to poll the group.
We're going to poll the group.
By raise of hands. Who would like to stay in the main room all together?
Who wants to stay together? Okay, so
So
1, 2,
2,
3, 4,
4.
5. And who would like to go into breakout groups? 1, 2, 3.
Okay, Julie, do you have a hand or a yes or a no, or Julie Avena?
Both Julies, actually. Both Julies.
I'm ambivalent. I can go either way. I know that doesn't help.
Why don't we stay together as a group?
Mm-hmm.
But the people who asked for individuated attention, let them go next so that they can kind of get a chance. How's that sound?
That sounds good.
That's awesome.
So Lee, I noticed that you were interested in attention. So I'm wondering if you would like to go next and pick something celebrating and something that you're mourning.
Sure. One of the things that I'm celebrating is, with the women that I've been dating, is being able to share a common teacher in bodywork and the same teacher for communication practices. And to be able to share that with her and get excited and listen to our teacher together and share it, and actually be able to show up and be together sometimes in that, it's been just absolutely amazing for me, because that's something that I have wanted for a long time, is to be able to share that with someone. And so that need for sharing for me has been just an amazing one. When I've reflected on all the different needs that I might have and try to reduce it down into one, sharing is the word that's come for me. In that practice.
And what are some of the comfortable, enjoyable emotions that come with that for you?
Well, first there's the physicality of being able to connect and have a hand on her leg, for instance, as we're taking this in together, and having our individual experiences yet being connected. That's been amazing. I honor that, the physical piece of it. And then the next piece would be the growth in the intellectual, that we're actually evolving in some way, and each of us evolving in our own unique way, and yet we're meeting some higher evolution that we're wanting for ourselves. And to have our unique experiences of that together is amazing too.
So I'm hearing beautiful needs that are being met: the need for connection, the need for evolution, the need for sharing. And I'm still looking for, I can guess what emotions you might be feeling, but
I heard that he's feeling connected.
Well, that's not an.
I'm feeling connected. I'm feeling connected.
No,
That's a feeling.
That's a feeling. That's a feeling.
So I'm hearing in the facilitators that there's a curiosity about what I might be feeling.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate that you're curious and that you're incorporating yourself into my experience that way.
Yeah.
And so for me, there's a need of some curiosity there that's met in the moment that I'm experiencing with you, and perhaps with the others that are muted. But that's the need that's being met for me right now in this moment.
Beautiful.
It's different than the story of what's gone before. Right now, I've actually got someone who's curious. And that's, if I come to my mornings, that's one of the ones that I've been mourning, is that curiosity in my partner. When I, for instance, start speeding up in my words and I start losing myself, or I get frustrated in some of the lack of connection, some of the earlier stories about that. When I have a partner that actually notices that I'm speeding up and I'm losing my connection, and the thing that I'm mourning is the desire for her to be curious what's underneath the energy of that, and to help me to connect with what's not being met, so that the two of us can mourn that together.
Wow, that's
beautiful. Wow.
Thank
you for that clarity.
Deep. That's deep.
Super clear.
Yeah. you know, and I think, I mean, what I'm really hearing is that, gosh, even when we're kind of getting off center and our partner sees us getting off center or disconnected, gosh, when our partner sees it, if they could just be curious and help slow us down and be curious about what's going on, as opposed to perhaps trying to change us or possibly even control our behavior or control the way they're experiencing us.
Or just not have the tools to get curious, just not know where to
So
go.
the piece that I reflect back on and so beautifully shared, Emily, and in Scott's teaching, is when the empathy wall is empty. When the two of us are together, and both of us have empty empathy wells, and we haven't gone to another resource to help.
Yeah.
We're in it together, both empty, and then there's a feeling of this, there's a letting it go kind of an experience. This need is not going to be met, and then the strategy is to let it go.
And so a strategy can be just mourning together. Mourning, we're both on empty. We're both exhausted. We're both feeling depleted. We can share in the mutual disappointment that I can't fill you up and you can't fill me up right now, that we're both in this depleted place.
That's actually a value, to mourn together.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next piece, just to end my piece, is to come back to a celebration. And it's sort of like the love sandwich thing, but the celebration is that even as we choose that this is where we're going to go in separate directions, remaining friends, to celebrate each other as we fly in our different directions, that is what our calling is and what our vision is for ourselves, that they're different visions and we can celebrate each of us finding our way.
Thank you. That's really high consciousness. You know, it's like, even if we're not getting our way, or if it's not what we want, or we don't see a strategy to meet what we want, to be able to appreciate the differences and set each other off in a good way. That's what I heard.
Well, I have a good teacher, and his first name is Scott. I've known him for some years, and I love him very much.
Oh, Lee, it's so good to see you, and thank you. I mean, you just taught me and us. You took us into such a beautiful place.
You're so wise and beautiful. Thank you for reflecting back such beautiful teachings.
Well, and thank you, Emily, because this is the first time that I've met you.
That was so beautiful. I want to thank you too. So beautiful. I want to find somebody like him. I'm saying that vulnerably.
Yeah, it's good to have good role models, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Deborah.
Yeah, and there are beautiful souls out there. Yeah. Anybody else want to give a share of what came up during Lee's piece? Anybody want to share anything that came up for you? Don't be shy.
I think what really struck me was this desire to have our partner just become curious, you know, about what's going on with us, or, you know, the consideration piece that meets our value for consideration and care, that person's willing to go the extra mile to just check in. And Scott's really helped me with that. Like, really, you know, often I'll be doing my own thing and he'll come into the kitchen and go, are you like here? Like, do you want to like check in? Do you want to like, can I have a hug? You know, and I'm just kind of in my own world, you know, doing my thing, cooking, you know, and it's really helps me to go, wow, even at the gym, sometimes Scott looks at me and he wants just that look like, hey, are we connected? And I'm just so in my own world, working out, doing my own thing. And you've helped me to learn how to just get curious about, I might be in my own separate state, but how can I be considerate of checking where you are? So that's kind of what came up for me. You're
Oh,
so
thank you.
considerate and checking in, and
Thank you.
you check in with me a lot.
Oh, thank you. Probably
So you
overly
teach me that.
sometimes, but thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Thank you.
You know what I want to say about curiosity is a quality that we usually assign to children. It's a childlike quality. And something I've observed that's tragic in relationship is when we stop being curious about the other person and we hit that place of, oh yeah, well, that's Joe. He'll never change. Oh, that's just Martha. She'll never change. That's just who she is. And I often ask people in workshops, how many of you have had to leave a close relationship, a family member, take a big break from a family member or a lover or a friend, because they put you in a prison of this is who you are and you're never going to change and this is how I'm always going to see you. And they stop being curious and so you had to leave the relationship. How many have had that experience? Just about all of us. Yeah. And so when the curiosity goes away and it's replaced by that's just the way you are in judgment, it feels horrible. It becomes, the relationship becomes stagnant. It's like stagnant water. You know, water becomes stagnant when it stops moving, right? So always stay curious, always be, the flip side of it is I read this wonderful book, interviews with people who've been married happily for 40 years or more. The number one quality that they all talked about was curiosity. I've been married. I'm fascinated. Yeah.
Like I still don't know her. Every day she shows me something new. And if you look at the trajectory of who we are never the same. We're constantly changing. I mean, I think it's something like every 4 days, all our cells die and we get a whole new
7 years.
7 years.
7
okay,
years,
shit. 7 years. I wasn't that cool in my little factoid.
Still, that's incredible.
But still, that's awesome. 7 years. But the fact of the matter is that everything is changing. The leaves falling on the trees, you know, it's like we go through winter and then we go through spring. Consistently, we're never the same each moment. We're always changing. And so if we can model the way nature teaches us of how to be, we kind of go back to our true nature.
And I think in partnership, when we are curious about each other, then it helps us to keep evolving. It helps us to keep moving. It gets a cycle going on of movement. Whereas if we get into that rigid place of having the same fight over and over and over and the same argument over and over and over, it does create a stagnation.
And again, curiosity with the innocence of the childlike wonder, the energy. Because I could be curious and be a prosecutor. Why'd you do that? Why'd you say that yesterday? You're just doing that again, you know? So that's, you could say I'm being curious, but it's not the same energy.
With that innocence.
The purity, just the gentleness, the innocence.
So thank you, Lee, for taking us into curiosity. I see Irene raising her hand. Yeah.
I also really like that idea of curiosity because I think it meets the need of being seen, you know, and I never realized until recently how important that need is for me. I used to be kind of a loner and I thought I was okay with that. But then going into a fulfilled relationship and then having, you know, relationships where, you know, a friend is not curious about me anymore or a friend who doesn't seem to see me clearly, it becomes hurtful. It sort of lets the connection just die out between us. And so that constant curiosity and something that David always gives to me is really beautiful. Like it makes you sort of bloom like a flower, I guess, and lets you evolve and grow and spread your branches even wider. So I really see that value for curiosity in you know, your friends, your lover, and your family. So.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Greg just said, I heard a quote today about change being guaranteed, but evolution is not. Curiosity assists us to evolve the changes that are present.
Nice.
Good one,
it's almost
Greg.
like curiosity is the catalyst
for evolution.
That's
I like
that's
that.
hot.
Change is guaranteed, but evolution is not. Wow,
Yeah.
that's
so the difference between change and evolution.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. I'd love to open it up. We've only got like about 12, 13 minutes left. Let's open it up. Maybe if Nina or either the Julies or Greg want to do a practice of celebration and mourning. Any of you willing to go next? If so, okay, Nina.
So I recently left, 2 days before Valentine's Day, I ended a 3-year engagement.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been a lot. It's a lot. And I'm celebrating that I love myself enough to do that. I'm celebrating my self-empowerment and choice of evolution and transformation through this process. I'm celebrating all these breakthroughs I'm making of patterns and my relationship to the masculine and my father and just so many things that it's like, wow, thank you so much for this gift that you came into my life to wake me up to these patterns. And that I'm choosing to create this into an opportunity of growth and evolution. And I'm also mourning that this person just lies right to my face, and that I believed him, and that he can't take any responsibility and still refuses to take responsibility for anything that's happened. It's so hard to not have anyone to go to with this to say, I'm sorry, you're right, you're not crazy. And so it's like, I just have to sit with that in myself and know that I'm making the right choice. So yeah, that's what I'm processing right now. And
It's a really deep mourning.
yeah, it is.
And I'm hearing a longing to be understood for what you've gone through. And that when we trust someone because we love them, they're our partner, and they are either incapable or unwilling of being honest, it's crazy making. And I'm hearing and imagining that you went through a period of, wow, is it me? Am I crazy? Is there
Disillusionment,
right? Maybe even gaslighting.
confusion, total confusion, overwhelm.
Yeah.
And you wanting to be devotional, wanting to invest. I mean, 3 years, you're deeply devotional woman. You're very loving. You're wanting to put your love in. You're wanting to make it work. And just the disillusionment of again and again not having your partner show up in ways that you meet your bottom lines. And also really celebrating your self-love, sweetie. Like you really recognized even after 3 years being engaged, 3-year commitment to go, you know what, this isn't right for me. You know, the self-empowerment, empowered, you're feeling empowered, and how you're looking at this as a crucible of awakening and changing and shifting patterns and evolving. I mean, thank you for your courage. Thank you for your commitment to self. Thank you for doing the work.
Yeah, it struck me the beauty and the courage that you did it just before Valentine's Day. And there's something really cool about that. Very courageous, as opposed to, okay, well, let's just see if we can have a great Valentine's Day and make it all better. And instead, no, I'm going to give myself the Valentine of letting go. And that's powerful. Boom.
You just married yourself in that choice.
Yeah.
It's like the 3rd time I've married myself, though. So.
You're like, wait, I think I'm ready to complete this contract.
I'm like, I think we have that part down.
Does anybody else want to open up, give empathy or anything that came up for you as you listened to Nina? Anybody else want to share? David and Laura?
Wow, Nina, thank you so much. I just, I felt you taking control of your feelings and your emotions and just your needs, and knowing that you deserve to have someone love you and want to be there for you. And, you radiate beauty inside and out. And my wish for you is to just know that there is someone out there that will absolutely be your partner.
And I just want to say thank you so much for sharing that deep pain too, that loss, and probably confusion and sadness and grief, because I'm sure it took a while before you came upon that decision, even though it may have happened over and over, for you to really go like, really? Is this really what's going on? And I can't even imagine how painful that was. And I just want you to know I'm really holding that in my heart, because I could really feel how deeply it must have hurt to make that decision finally.
Thank you. It feels so good to just feel all of your support and to be witnessed, and I just feel so supported by all of you right now. Thank you so much.
We're so glad you're here, Nina.
Yeah.
For showing up.
Yeah. Anybody else want to share anything?
I would love to just share empathy also to Nina. I got to switch the arrows so I can see her face. I've got to see you, Nina. Nina, yeah, it is really crazy making when somebody's lying to you. And so I just want to give you empathy that you had the strength and the courage to get real about your needs, to be in relationship with somebody where you can feel the honesty and the grounded presence of what you need, and that you told yourself the truth. And also, as Scott and Emily were saying, that you had the courage to, as the holiday all about love, the Valentine's Day was coming up, I can see that you felt the discrepancy. And you just had to go, this isn't working. I'm not going to go through this holiday with this lie. And so you stepped into a deeper truth with yourself. So I want to celebrate you in that courage.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you.
What's up, Philip? Just want to acknowledge your presence.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, it's nice to have Philip, Julie's husband.
Yeah, hello. Nice to meet you.
We're wrapping up, but I just wanted to acknowledge your presence. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Well, we're actually almost to our 9:00 thing, so our completion. So we just want to make a couple of quick announcements. First of all, thank you, everyone. Really appreciating all the shares, the depth of connection, and Emily and I made the choice about 1.5 years ago, after the Harbin fire, to really build our online community. We went from doing 1 or 2 retreats a month to none. We haven't done a retreat for quite a while, actually. And so we wanted to build our online community, and it's really cool. We've got about 100 people that are part of the Love Coach Academy online membership site. We've got about 30 people that are doing our current Relationship Essentials course. And it's a beautiful community that we're forming. And again, tonight's a perfect example. Most of you, or many of you, have never met before. And yet the depth of connection, the depth of sharing, the depth of safety we're able to get to. So I want to thank each and every one of you for bringing your heart and yourself to tonight, and practicing empathy and practicing cultivating emotional intimacy.
So that's an invitation for, if this is really yummy and juicy and like, hey, I want to build community and practice these tools, it's a chance for us to come onto our membership site. And this is our membership site here. And basically what you get for coming on board are like over 40 different videos in our web portal, different documents, everything from like, what do I do when I've been betrayed, or how do I take care of my emotions,
deal with addiction,
how do I communicate in this current situation, learning about empathy. There's all these modules that you can just watch in your own timing and in the comfort of your own home. And then we build community through what we're doing here. Every Tuesdays, we're going to start having our practice groups where we come on for 90 minutes and different teachers teach the different tools that we teach in the Love Coach Academy. And so this is a really great chance to build community. And many of you guys are already part of the portal, so thank you, but some of you guys aren't. And I think it's what, $9.99 a month?
$12.95 a month, $89.95 for a year, or $375 forever, a lifetime membership. And I just put in the chat box where you can join. And you just click there, and then you'll see a little thing that says, I want to join now. And so for those of you that are not part of our Love Coach Academy portal yet, please consider joining that. And again, our Relationship Essentials people who are doing that course are all part of that already.
And
the webinar,
5 ways to spice up your sex life. So Saturday, if you're around from 10 a.m. to 11:30, that'll be a chance to come on. And it's for singles and couples. We talk a lot about the importance of building your life force energy, building your turn on, building your pleasure, and how do I bring that out in my life? How do I accentuate my turn on and live from that place of joy and inspiration and pleasure? And looking at what are some of our blocks that, don't allow us to feel our sensual, sexual turn on. So come and join us. There's the link in the chat box below. And it's free, so please send it to your friends. It's a great way to, get people to come and learn a little bit about us, and we'll be having some fun.
Yep. So thank you. Hopefully we'll see some or all of you on Saturday on the webinar. Of course, we'll see our Relationship Essentials people on Sunday. And hopefully some or all of you next Tuesday night. Thank you, everybody.
Blessings. Have a good night. Thanks, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're amazing.
Thank you so much. Great evening.
Bye.